Century. UnregularRadio.com.
Back live.
2 hotheads.
Where activism happens.
Yes, sir.
UnregularRadio.com. That's where we're at. 617-606-3700 if you want to call and weigh in. I know there's some upcoming events happening around Aaron Swartz. Do I say his name right? Swartz.
Like, may the Schwartz be with you?
I
was just going to say that.
I think that's wrong, though.
Are you sure?
No,
yeah,
Schwartz.
because it's S-W-A-R-T.
Yeah, it's a Schwartz.
Swartz.
It's not Schwartz.
Yeah. All right, we said it right the second time. Newman, you should know.
Apologies to Mel Brooks. No, I think it's Swartz from the way you said it.
S-W-A-R-T-Z.
Yeah, it sounds like Swartz.
All right.
I'm pretty sure it's Schwartz. I mean,
we're joking, but we're not joking. Aaron, we lost Aaron. I think a lot of us know. We've had him featured his story on a show, some of his friends, some of his family. There's going to be a couple events coming up. A protest, try to remove U.S. Attorney Carmen Ortiz outside of the courthouse again. There's also a memorial, I guess, this week at MIT. And I'm hoping we get a phone call about it. We're hoping to get more information from Anon en masse and that crew that keeps us up to date on that.
Yep, absolutely.
But you can look for more information on our Facebook group on that if they don't call in. You have some other news too.
I did have some news. I was going to plug an event also that's going on tomorrow. We've got a Dan Fishman Liberty signing is going to be going on, and that's going to meet outside of the Cheers at 1 o'clock at Faneuil Hall. And that'll be going on until 5. So, the Facebook page is Calling All Libertarians and Liberty Activists. You got Dan Fishman. We had him in here last week. And he's a stand-up guy, regular dude. He's running for, the U.S. Senate. And he needs people to come out and support him. So that's going on tomorrow. And that's going to be at Faneuil Hall from 1 to 5 right in front of the Cheers building, or the Cheers bar there.
Is the Cheers bar down there now?
Yeah, there's a Cheers bar.
They moved it?
And yeah, it's right in
because it used to be
Faneuil.
the bullfinch near the government, near the State House.
Yep.
Across the Common?
Oh, yeah. No, that one's still there. That's like the Cheers it was based off
of. That's the original
whatever, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. There's a second one.
Yeah,
that's
the second
tourist
one.
trap.
Yeah, it's a tourist trap, exactly.
So the tourist trap one right in Faneuil Hall.
Even the one over underneath the hotel is kind of a tourist trap, too.
I don't think I even know where that
it's
one
not
is.
even what, like, the Cheers, like they based it off of Cheers, it doesn't even look like the place. But, we digress. So the story that I wanted to talk about was, so in Hungary, right, apparently it is illegal. GMO seeds, genetically modified seeds, are illegal in Hungary. So the government found a couple of fields of organic, not organic, certainly not organic, of GMO corn, maize, as they call it in the rest of the world. And they actually destroyed all of it. And that I thought was pretty awesome, because that's a country that's standing up, against a huge, powerful interest in the world, Monsanto, whose power is growing, with every new Roundup Ready product that they produce, and it's supposed to be this savior of the planet. It's supposed to save all kinds of lives, but nobody really knows. Like Dan Fishman was on here last week talking about GMOs, and he said, there's GMOs and then there's GMOs. So like scientists have created, genetically modified foods that have been able to be drought resistant, but being drought resistant and coming, pre-made with like a carcinogen in it are like two different things, I think, and so I think it's good to see like a big, not a world power, but a fairly, respectable government like Hungary, All
right. All right. I mean, I don't know, but let me ask you this, because as someone who thinks more libertarian in a lot of respects,
yep.
And you, the first time I met you, you were working for a Republican.
I was.
You've been a Republican National Committee delegate for. It turned out to be for
twice.
Mitt Romney, but you were really for Ron Paul.
Yep.
But you
been to the belly of the beast.
Yeah, you were.
I made it out alive.
I know you for being a libertarian.
Yeah.
How do you kind of square that? Because in a lot of respects, you'd be the liberty view would be like, well, let the marketplace decide if they want GMO or not.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where I differ from that whole libertarian point of view, because like the libertarian point of view says anyone can open a pharmacy. Okay, let's think about that for a minute. Anyone can open a pharmacy. So how long does it take for, like, say some guy who, was a car mechanic? He opens a pharmacy and starts making drugs, right? How many people is he going to kill before the market decides, maybe we shouldn't go buy pharmaceuticals from this guy. Maybe we should go over to the other guy and buy them from him. I mean, how long is the market going to take to correct itself? And how many people are going to have to die unnecessarily because there was absolutely no regulation? Or, like, look at something like a Walmart, right? So everyone's like, oh, well, the market will decide if Walmart provides the best product. And it's like, well, I mean, how does the market decide anything, right? How does anything happen in the market? Through capital, right? And so, like, if you have this giant, huge corporation, this conglomerate that can come in and basically muscle anything through capital, right? And there's absolutely no regulations whatsoever to stop them, then how is anyone going to be able to compete in that free market?
Well,
quote,
I think
against the Walmart.
I think that most libertarians, and I'll say maybe I'm not speaking for most libertarians, but speaking for myself, that we do expect some form of regulation, and the regulation should be that the government stops corporations from doing bad things. When they harm somebody or something, that's when they should be penalized. And that also includes antitrust. That's what the government's real role is to come crack down on corporations and say, you're too big, you're not playing fair, you own all the hardware stores, you've put them all out of business, there is only one place to go to get hardware now, Walmart. We need to cut you into little pieces.
Yeah, but if you read the Bible of libertarianism, right, if you read Ayn Rand, right, Ayn Rand's, the Atlas Shrugged, is all about, like, this super oppressive government that comes in and says, oh, well, you can't have a monopoly on this and you can't have a monopoly on that. I think someone who is like a staunch libertarian would say, well, if a company becomes a monopoly, it's because they provided the best product, the best service, and people chose to turn them into a monopoly by doing business with them. Even though the reality of the situation is that they manipulated the market into their favor and forced everyone to do business with them.
Well, if that's the true definition, then I definitely differ, because I think monopolies are negative.
I mean, I definitely support free markets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I support the idea of free markets, but I think that
free markets need to be regulated.
They need to be regulated
to a certain extent, but how much regulation? How far does that go? That's to me where it's a tougher call.
Antitrust stuff and stuff that's in the public interest. So that's why I support Hungary's move of making GMO seeds illegal. I mean, maybe it's a brash decision.
I mean, to me, it seems like the GMO almost creates a monopoly too. That's my more. When I'm hearing that regular farmers who are using non-GMO seeds, that their seeds become contaminated, their stock become contaminated because you can't stop cross-pollination, and when that happens, that the patent owner of that GMO then goes after you for a royalty fee, and it seems like you almost can't avoid it now.
Yeah, and you can't harvest the seeds from the grain. You have to buy their new seeds every single year.
That basically creates a monopoly.
Or look at what happened with the.
So that is negative. I can see why.
And there's a lot of negatives to it, and there's a lot of negatives to just having a completely unregulated market. I mean, that's just a fact. But I mean. You can quote Mises, or you can quote this one, or you can quote that one, but the fact is that, like, there's not, like, libertarianism isn't the only answer. Oh, we got
Mike Newman wanted to weigh in.
Yeah,
I was just going to say it's almost like you should ask an overarching question of, is this for the common good, and then there's sub questions about that.
Oh, you know what? When you say is it good for the common good, I'm pretty sure that a guy named Adolf used that word.
All right, but it has to be.
I'm not sure it was for the common good to get rid of all the Jews.
You're right, but I'm saying that's why I'm saying this.
I know you're not supposed to compare things to.
I wasn't going there.
But you know what I'm saying, like the common good. I mean, I'm sure Stalin used that. I'm sure that. A lot of these dictators have used the common good.
Everything's always done under the common good.
Yeah, my point is
the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act.
I mean, my cigarettes are another $1 every time I blink. For the common good. Well, is that good for me? No, it's not good for me.
But it's good for most people.
Well,
it's good for all the kids that have health care now because you pay more for your cigarettes. With
what
the
kids?
S-chip. So S-chip.
I got
cigarettes went up.
I can't afford health insurance, and they're charging me more. That's not good for me.
It's to incentivize you to quit.
Yeah, well,
that's the way that it's.
I'm not quitting.
It's a syntax, but, under the corporation, under the Constitution.
But whatever it is,
it's legal to have that kind of tax.
There's so much common good crap that goes around that's just not good.
It's got to be more definition about what is the common good.
I don't think you can declare that.
Nobody said it was easy.
I know. None of this stuff is.
It certainly is.
That's why it's so frustrating when one person thinks that they have all the answers, and they're usually morons. Like, let's talk more about that.
Let's talk more about morons?
Yeah. I want to make a point. I want to educate this moron, because she didn't quite get it. I got so fed up with her.
Who's this moron?
This totally, like, she calls herself Miss Conservative, Republican. You had to vote for Romney or you were voting for Obama was the number one thing she was telling me.
Oh, really?
Right? And I'm like, oh, really? In Massachusetts, right? Where I predicted 6 months before the election that Obama would win by 1 million votes, and that any vote that you placed in Massachusetts did not count for Obama or Romney because it was already preordained. And the only vote that truly counted was to vote for a third party, because that would actually register your voice. Mm-hmm. Your voice of dissent would be recorded by voting for third party, because Obama and Romney are backed by the major corporations, and it's winner take all in Massachusetts. It's decided. Obama, your one vote did not make a difference in Massachusetts whether you voted for Obama and Romney. It was never in question. Most of the states in the union are like that.
Yeah.
So therefore, in most states, you should consider voting third party in presidential elections. If you're in a state that is totally partisan and you know that either the Democrat or the Republican is going to win in a presidential election, you should vote third party.
You should vote third party.
This is basic.
No matter what,
this
really.
is basic.
I mean, why would you support, either the Democrats or the Republicans?
This is basic civics activism. And this person is an expert telling me that my vote was for Obama. No, my vote wasn't for Obama. Obama won my state by 1 million votes. I withheld my vote from Obama.
Well, I mean, that's just
she doesn't even get
spin nonsense.
She's a moron. Let's just call her a moron. You know what? Izzy J's mom.
Izzy J's mom. Izzy J's
on
mom.
Twitter. You are a moron, and you should get rid of your right to vote. You should give up your Twitter account.
She's a twit.
And you should start listening to our show and get a little more educated, so you know what the hell you're talking about.
That's right. So you believe what we think.
No.
Not what you think.
No. But, hey, if either one of us is wrong, right, what do?
We say we're wrong.
When we say we're wrong, we thank the person that corrected us and gave us the right information.
That's right.
And that's always the way that we do it here.
Yeah. I mean, when I was at the Republican National Convention, when we were trying to get Ron Paul nominated and all that, all the party suits and, the hacks were like, well, doing what you're doing, what do you want, Obama to win? Are you supporting Obama? You supporting Obama? And I would always break it down for them. Like, listen, it doesn't matter if Obama or Romney wins. The same person still runs the country, or the same group of people still run the country. The same conglomerate of interests or whatever are still going to be in charge. So, like, you're voting for Obama when you vote for Romney, and the same thing I tell someone who's an Obama supporter, you're voting for Romney when you vote for Obama.
It's true.
What's the difference between the two guys? Look at what he did when he was the governor here. What did Romney do?
It is so true. But even beyond that, like the basic of if you I'm repeating myself, but I'm just gonna keep repeating it because I still don't think Jay's mom or whatever her name is gets it. If I vote for Mitt Romney in Massachusetts, he still loses by 1 million votes to Obama. Decided not on November 6th. Decided months ago. We already knew this, right?
Yeah, well, decided.
Was there anyone that was taking bets that Romney was going to beat Obama in Massachusetts? Was there anyone that was taking an even bet?
I mean, they didn't even really spend any money.
They didn't spend any money here.
No, they didn't spend any money here.
Because it was already decided.
I mean, all he did was pay the property taxes on his house in Belmont so he could.
How come the experts though? This is what gets me. What you just brought up. These people.
Who called them? Who told these people they were experts?
Well, no, I know, but the self-proclaimed experts. All right. These people, they spend their whole life working for the Republican Party or whatnot or whatever you're talking about, and they're telling you that your vote is wasted and that It's like, how can they not even just have the common sense to actually look at the whole process and say, hey, my vote doesn't actually count unless I vote for third party? How can't they come to that conclusion?
It's like a cognitive dissonance kind of thing. You know what I mean? I mean, they're living in this reality where they think that if they go with the status quo, then whatever their niche issue is, or whatever truisms or you know, things that they were holding on to, values that they were holding on to, you know, are going to be able to be manifested within this person, you know, and they think that you know, that's what you have to do, is you have to go along to get along, you know. Like our whip was telling me about how I was a Bush guy, you know, and then when you know, who was it? He was saying, oh yeah, what was he saying? I can't remember exactly what he said. He wasn't a Bush guy. He was for somebody else. You know what I mean? Or he was a McCain guy, right? And then Bush won, and so he had to get behind the bushes. You know what I mean? I wish he stayed behind the bushes, to be honest with you. But I mean, like, just you know, you have this whole cognitive dissonance thing where they think that, like, you know, just, you know, little step, but the little steps aren't leading them to, you know, their ideals. Their little steps are leading them into chains to, you know, to toe the party line, and you know, everything that they stood for and everything that they believed in is gone because they allowed for the party to turn them into what the party is, you know, and that's my experience with the fascist machine.
What do you think about? We've been talking about Leah Cole.
Leah Cole, yeah.
Leah Cole.
Yep.
She won.
Yeah, she did.
She won her primary.
She did win her primary.
I'm proud of her.
Yeah, I'm proud of it too.
But she took some hits from me, anyways, on the show the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you did. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you get a little answer. You know, you reached out to her a couple times. I reached out to her, and you know, no answer. And you know, and then Casey found her with that picture of Bruce Tarr, and we all know how much Casey loves Bruce Tarr. You know, so.
But I gotta give it to Leah though. I hope I say it. Leah. What am I?
It's Leah.
Leah. Okay.
It's not Leia. She doesn't have
Princess Leia.
Cinnabons inside of her head.
I'll just say Ms. Cole. She won her primary, and now she's going to be in the general election.
Yep.
She might come on the show, it turns out, it sounds like. But one of the things I really liked about her was that like when this whole thing we were talking about earlier, the stand with Rand.
Yep, drone strikes.
Yeah, it was all going on Twitter, and I'm posting, and I'm asking Markey, I'm asking Stephen Lynch, I'm asking Dan Winslow, I'm asking Gomez, I asked Elizabeth Warren, I asked John Kerry. All these politicians, I'm asking them, where do you stand on this? Do you stand with Rand? Are you against the drone strikes? Do you want more questions? Do you want more oversight? Do you want transparency? None of them answered. Except for number one, the first to respond immediately, and you could tell the difference between the first one and the second one was you could tell one was done with thought and probably with a campaign staff.
Yeah.
And the other one was she's sitting there behind her Twitter answering me directly and says, I said, do you stand with do you stand with Rand on the drone strikes? And she said, yeah, do you? I was just like, yeah, of course I do.
Yeah.
Like, she immediately responded in her own words, which I really like that.
Yeah. No, I think, you know, I mean, we know a lot of the people
we want to see her
behind
do more
her
of
and stuff, and I mean, you know, it'd be interesting to see how everything plays out, you know. She is slated as one of the you know, liberty people, but you know how I feel about that word nowadays.
You said it was a dirty word.
It is. It's a dirty
it's
word.
Not dirty.
Liberty. No, the liberty.
You know what?
No,
we just need to clean up.
Liberty is a euphemism for Republican.
We've been cleaning up.
That's what's.
Well, that's what this Izzy J's mom. It's like, don't tell me about liberty, lady. You're a moron. You know, like.
I mean, the word liberty still means something.
If Izzy J's mom uses liberty, then it's a dirty word. That's the problem. It's the people in the movement. It's not the idea.
Well, that's because, you know, the way the whole liberty movement started. You know, the liberty movement started out with anti-war people, and it started out with, you know, anti-war libertarians. The first Tea Party that was held at Faneuil Hall was held by 9/11 truthers.
I remember.
You know, and that was
co-opted.
You know, and
they got co-opted.
That's exactly
like a
what
lot
happened.
Just
you know,
like pretty much
money
every
comes
movement
in,
in this country does.
The you know, Tea Party Express comes in, and all of a sudden, you know, there's 800 new organizers in Massachusetts that you've never heard of in your entire life. You know, and they're all people who are just from RTC's places and stuff. So, I mean, that's, you know, it's being morphed into something that it wasn't. You know. And it's important, you know, for people who are involved at the beginning to keep that kind of in perspective, you know, and not get too excited with all these new people, you know. But at any rate, I'm rambling on about stuff that people don't even care about.
Well, the other candidate that said he stood with Rand was Dan Winslow.
Oh, Dan Winslow.
Yeah. He was running Republican for U.S. Senate.
Yeah.
Got to mention that. But he doesn't get, you know, it's not like he kind of got back to us when we invited him on the show, and then he doesn't.
Then he doesn't want to be on the show, or he doesn't stand with
Doesn't
Rand?
respond.
He doesn't respond, huh?
So he's another one that, you
Yeah.
know, I don't know.
Questionable.
I mean, it's like open forum, come answer some questions. What's so difficult about that?
Yeah.
You're running for office.
Right?
Why don't these people want to answer questions?
Because they feel there's nothing in it for them. Sorry to interrupt, but that's why.
How about some votes? How about some contribute? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't see that.
I don't know.
It's more of a negative, I think, for a candidate who hasn't even gone through the primary yet to come on to any show or do any kind of media, really, because you're just giving your opponent fodder to throw at you, or ammunition to use against you. So I think that's probably the thought process behind Leah and not coming on the show, and behind Dan Winslow. I don't know the first thing about Dan Winslow. I mean,
I heard he worked for Romney.
He used to work for Romney.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yep.
A lot of people work for Romney. A lot of people who said they were, liberty candidates and things like that. They're knocking doors for Scott Brown, and they're towing the Republican line. And so it's like, that's the thing. We're putting too much stock in this liberty through the Republican Party. I mean, it's too much stock, in the activist movement and the libertarian movement, the liberty movement, right? I mean, there's way too much stock being put in that whole idea that we can change the Republican Party, because at the end of the day, the Republican Party changes you.
Well, very interesting. You've been there. You've tried it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a registered Republican. I haven't changed my registration yet.
Not me. I'm unenrolled.
Yeah, no.
I was gonna join a Republican because Frank did, but we'll see.
I don't know. I was thinking about, we had Ed or Jamie O'Keefe from the Pirate Party.
Jamie, yeah.
I mean, we can register as pirates now. Maybe we should just register as pirates.
You can't vote in the primaries though.
Sure, you can.
Sometimes can you?
I don't know. Can you?
I don't think
there
so.
has to be a pirate.
You have to be unenrolled or with the party that you're voting.
Wait a minute.
Like when you have a Democrat or Republican
in the
party,
primary, you can pick any ballot.
Yeah, but I think you have to be unenrolled to pick any ballot, or you have to be with that party. En masse. I'm not sure. We need to look into that.
Yeah, no, you don't have.
Like
to
if you're a
let's
put it this way: if you're a libertarian,
vote for ballots.
if you're officially registered with the Libertarian Party, you can't pull a Democrat or Republican Party.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And I like to vote in those primaries. So if there's a close race and I like one over the other, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, most people.
We're over time. We were going to take a
unenrolled.
break, but I don't think we're going to now. I think we're just going to keep.
We're just going to keep going. Let's just keep going.
Well, maybe we should take a break.
We're in it to win it. Let's take a break.
If anyone wants to call in, you know the number 617-606-3700. I know Nikki said she was trying to call earlier. If you're trying to call, just give us a ring again. 617-606-3700. I know we talk a lot
here at Two Hotheads,
and we'll take a break and we'll come right back.
See you.